Hello, Capricorn Risings. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of June 2025. As always, we are going to pull an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week, clarify that with more tarot, as well as correlate those messages to the astrological transits that are occurring in those weeks, and then wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. So let's see what your overall theme is for the month of June. Seek hidden treasure. This could be, it feels like it's asking you guys to kind of branch out a little bit, right? Seek treasure or seek joy, seek peace in the things that, or maybe even seek success in the things that maybe you wouldn't think would lead you to that overall outcome. So this is the month that you guys are being guided to seek that hidden treasure. Let's see what each week holds in store for you. Here in the first week, the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is about quick decisions, forward, clear and direct communication, really kind of like taking action towards a goal and hitting the mark, basically hitting that bullseye. This is the week that Venus is going to move into the sign of Taurus. Venus is very comfortable in Taurus. That is one of her signs. That is Taurus's ruling planet is Venus. So these energies are very comfortable when they're together. Venus governs over money, relationships, love, what we value, and like aesthetic, beauty, things like that. For you guys, Taurus sits in your fifth house. This is your house of self-expression and creativity. So this could be a very, very potent opportunity. You could feel a spark of creativity. You could feel that any creative endeavors move smoothly, right? Any actions that you take towards either expressing yourself or creativity will ultimately kind of hit the mark. They'll land how you really want them to land. So that's nice. Here in the second week, the Knight of Pentacles. Knights are the action takers of the tarot. And the Knight of Pentacles is a very slow moving knight. He is an earth sign, so he's very intentional and deliberate with every little thing that he does. And this is the week that Mercury, the planet of thoughts, ideas, communication, and messages, is moving into the sign of Cancer. Cancer for you guys sits in your seventh house. So if you are potentially interested in another person, because the fifth house governs like romantic love affairs, right? But the seventh house is the house of interpersonal relationships, marriage, things like that, romantic, long-term romantic partners. So if there is someone that you're interested in, considering that these two cards are landing in your fifth and your seventh house, I would encourage you to shoot your shot, quite literally shoot your shot, right? Because it might actually turn out to be more successful than what you think. You're a slow moving energy anyway. You're one that really kind of takes your time. So the Knight of Pentacles landing in your seventh house doesn't surprise me there. If you are truly interested in someone, you're going to want to take things slow. You're going to want to see if it is going to turn out to be a successful long-term partnership. However, this is also when we will have Jupiter, the planet of luck, expansion, growth, abundance, moving into that same sign. So again, your fifth and seventh houses are being really activated. And it looks like it could turn out to be very, very successful, right? So any creative endeavors that you're going for, any actions that you're wanting to take, any actions that you're wanting to take or that you're inspired to take, Now is the time to make that quick choice because it's going to land where you need it to land. And again, if this is about, and even when it comes to business contracts, business partnerships, take things slow, but it does look like the energy is going to continue to move forward. But again, if you feel like it's resonating more romantically, again, the energy still looks like it's very much in your favor. That is also the week that we have the full moon occurring in Sagittarius on the 11th. Sagittarius does hit in your 12th house. The 12th house is a challenging house. It represents the subconscious, mental health, endings, spirituality, faith, dreams, all of the things that we can't see, right? But a full moons are a buildup they're buildup of energy, and they can be very intense. They tend to trigger our emotions. So I would be mindful that any emotions or feelings that could be coming up around the full moon, around the 11th, just be intentional with how you approach those subjects. Okay. Here in the third week, the wheel in reverse. So the wheel in reverse, or the wheel of fortune, or the wheel of fate, represents that there's a life cycle that is either turning slowly, or you could be potentially blocking that life cycle, right? It could be, again, if this is in regards to a romantic relationship, you shoot your shot. It's like things are progressing, but they're progressing slowly. And the third week could be representing that as well. In business, it could feel like things are just not going the way you want them to go, right? The first part of the month, yeah, things are really, really moving, and it could just feel like the energy begins to stall out, okay? This is the week that Mars, the planet of action, aggression, desire, power, control, moves into the sign of Virgo. This is your 9th house. This is the house of higher wisdom. This is the house of philosophy, spiritual and religious beliefs. It's the house of morality, long distance travel, and even cultural beliefs. So if you are traveling for business, you could encounter delays when it comes to traveling. Okay. But Mars moving into Virgo, it could be that this stalling, instead of it being like, oh man, I thought things were going great and now they're just not going anywhere, seek that hidden treasure. If the energy has kind of stalled, that's giving you space. That's the universe giving you space to realize something, to maybe even integrate something, to really consider where this could go or where you want it to go even. Okay. So don't try and control the outcome of what it is that you're working towards. Don't try and control the outcome of a relationship. Don't try to control the outcome of a creative endeavor or a business deal or a business contract. Don't try to control those. You can't control delays when you travel. So why would you try and control anything else that moves like this? This is also the week that we step into Cancer season. So again, your 7th house is being activated. Okay, so we're stepping into Cancer season. Anytime we step into a new astrological season, the signs or the themes and qualities of that sign begin to take center stage. Cancer is very patient. It focuses on emotional security and emotional safety because it represents the home. In our early life, it represents the mother, all things that kind of represent emotional safety. It's kind, it's protective, it governs emotional safety. And that's maybe what this kind of pause in time is trying to get you to understand, is that yes, you're about to move into a new cycle of life, but you need to build up your resistance, or you need to strengthen the foundation of your emotional resiliency. Here in the last week, we have the 7 of Wands. So the 7 of Wands represents kind of like encountering obstacles, and just kind of like continuing to fight, continuing to work towards what it is that you're wanting, continuing to like stand your ground and being like, no, I am going This is going to happen. I'm going to make this happen. This can also represent like putting boundaries in place, needing to put boundaries in place, needing to stand up for yourself or stand your ground, so to speak. This is the week that we have the new moon in the sign of Cancer. New moons are new opportunities or blank slates to set intentions or to even write a new chapter for ourselves around the particular area of life that is associated with that sign. And again, you guys, it's your 7th house. So whether this is with business contracts or whether this is romantic relationships, if things are moving slowly and then they kind of stall out, the new moon in Cancer could be giving you the opportunity to put some boundaries in place. If this is a new connection, then you put those boundaries in place and be like, look, this is what I expect from someone that I am dating or that I am seeing. This is what I deserve. This is what I expect. If you can't give that to me, I understand, but I'm going to have to put an end to this, right? Same thing with a business contract. These are my parameters. These are my expectations. If we're not on the same page here, that's cool. No big deal. Maybe we're not right to work together. Okay. This is also when we have Mercury, again, the planet of thoughts, ideas, communication, moving into the sign of Leo. Leo, for you guys, sits in your 8th house. This is about shared resources. This is about debt and inheritance. This is about sex, the occult, and all things taboo. This is the house of transformation. So it could be that maybe you guys are voicing your opinion, stating those boundaries. Okay. Let's see what the other tarot, let's see what clarifying energy we can give Capricorn risings. Here in the first week, the 8 of Wands, the 3 of Swords, okay? And the 8 of Swords. Okay, so it could be that here in the first week, Venus moving into Taurus, you end up shooting your shot, but you could be shot down, right? Because we have here the 3 of Swords. The 3 of Swords represents heartache, loss, and separation. Okay. And then here it's followed by the 8 of Swords, which is kind of like self-imprisoned by your own limiting beliefs, right? If you are interested in shooting your shot, if there's a creative endeavor, if there's something that you want to create or move towards, I do think the potential is there. However, it could be fears, like your fear of rejection, your fear of loss, that are kind of making you hesitant to shoot that shot. Okay? Because this is a collective reading, this can go either way. I'm so sorry. But with the 8 of Wands direct, it does symbolize that there's some sort of success. There's some sort of movement towards growth. So whether you shoot your shot and you get shot down, or you shoot your shot and it turns out to be a lot more successful than you thought, it's a moment for growth. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for you to advocate for what it is that you value, right? Whether that is yourself, whether that is love, whether that is for your creativity, whether that is for creative projects, whether that is just your self-expression, okay? But it could be that while you're doing that, that energy is kind of countered with these limiting beliefs around fear and like limiting beliefs, fears around rejection. Here in the second week, the Knight of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles, moving towards a very collaborative effort, just kind of like seeing where it goes, right? The 3 of Pentacles is known as the architect of the tarot. And when we think of architecture, we're looking at blueprints. We're going to build something. So this is making the necessary blueprint for what it is that you're wanting to build for yourself. or it's potentially showcasing that there's a collaborative effort. Maybe if you're wanting to move towards something, you need to seek the advice of someone who may be a little bit more experienced in that area of life. Again, because this is showcasing kind of around your 7th house with Jupiter and Mercury being there this week, I would venture to say that this is around romantic relationships and business contracts. You're working towards something, you're doing it very diligently. It's almost like you're doing it, you're playing by the book, but you still feel very unsuccessful. You still feel like the work and effort that you're putting in is just not being acknowledged. It's not being seen by others. And if you feel like you're not being seen or acknowledged by other people, it may be like if you feel like your hard work is not being acknowledged or seen, it could ultimately create some creative tension. So you may need to seek the advice of someone who is a little bit more experienced in this area and just see what they say. It could potentially mean that with this creative endeavor or with this collaboration, that you just need to tread slowly and be very intentional with what you're investing, right? Don't put all of your eggs in one basket, basically. Here in the 3rd week, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, and Justice in reverse. So Mars moving into Virgo and Cancer season is a big week for you. The 3rd week in the month is going to be a big week for you because you've got 2 major arcana that just came out of the deck. And you've got 2 10s that have just come out of the deck. And 10s represent the result of a completion, right? Maybe you choose to walk away from something. Something becomes a disappointment. Like, again, you shoot your shot and you get shot down. And so you're having to walk away from something that you wanted to be a creative or a collaborative effort, but you feel like ultimately you're just not going to be able to overcome these obstacles. And so the energy itself, it feels like it's just stalling out. Like things are not moving in your favor. Everything that you have worked, you've worked hard for, you've invested in, is not going anywhere. It feels like a potential loss. And then we have Justice here. Justice is going to ask you, and it's going to force you to, one, recognize how this is life reflecting back to you. This is life reflecting back at you, right? Because Justice knows and sees all and is very unbiased about how the energy feels, right? There's no right or wrong. I mean, there kind of is, but Justice looks at things from a very even playing field. There's what it is, and then there's what it isn't, right? So when Justice appears in reverse, it's life reflecting back at us. And it could potentially be, where do we need to take accountability and move forward? This can also represent that a cycle, it feels like a cycle can come to an end or comes to an end. And the results of that ending feel very unfair. Like it feels like it's not very fair to you. Okay? Because here we've got 2 10s. There's also a 10 here. But 2 10s, and then we move into 11, right? So we're moving back into a new cycle where you're potentially starting this cycle off feeling like things are not unfair, but you're being forced, you're being guided by the divine, by the universe, by God, to recognize the role that you played, what didn't work out the way you wanted it to, and then where you can grow from there. It's one of those moments to seek that hidden treasure, even in hard times of hardship and challenge. Here in the last week, the 7 of Wands, the King of Cups in reverse, setting those boundaries. There could be someone around you and around this week that you have to set boundaries with, someone who is potentially emotionally explosive, emotionally manipulative, somebody who uses emotions to get what they want, somebody who's kind of a drama king, Okay. You may have to set boundaries around that person. This could also be guiding you if you feel like that doesn't relate to another person. This could be guiding you to place boundaries within yourself because there's a lot of emotion that's happening. And when we become emotionally triggered, we become impulsive and we become reckless, and we ultimately end up doing or saying things that don't necessarily align with our true, authentic character. So it may be that you need to set boundaries with another person or yourself. And the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles in reverse, pages are messengers of the tarot, or they are apprentices. And truth be told, this page could be delivering a message being like, look, this is a missed opportunity. Set those boundaries, stand your ground, speak your truth, because there's been a missed opportunity for growth. There's been a missed opportunity to build something tangible, right? And it could come from maybe you not voicing your opinion. I'm curious what's on the bottom of the deck. Another 10, the 10 of Wands. Like this whole month, I think it's the result of a completion for you guys. Something has ended and now we're kind of seeing, it's kind of like the bomb has gone off, or the dynamite has been set, the dynamite has been triggered, and this is the moment. This is like that liminal space where we like see it go off, and now we're just waiting for everything to start crumbling. And I know that sounds very dismal, and I don't mean it to. It was just the image that came to my mind. But it's now when it's the result of that completion, right? This is the effect of the cause, choices and consequences. And sometimes that is in our favor, and sometimes it feels really unfair. But ultimately, this is the result of a completion, and you guys will begin a new cycle once again. If you are working somewhere, it could feel like where you are is very, very competitive. A lot of people are trying to do their thing. They're trying to get ahead. They're trying to get themselves seen and noticed. And it can feel like no matter what you do, you're not feeling seen and noticed. And that, again, that can feel really, really unfair. It could feel like the time and the energy and where you are and what you've invested in this thing feels like it's all for nothing. When in reality, that's not the case. This is the moment where you're being guided to seek that hidden treasure. What can you learn from this moment? And how can you use that to your advantage? Let's get that additional oracle guidance. Decluttering. This is card number 18. 1, the self and creation, and 8 is personal attainment and growth. I think this is 18. Excuse me, 13. 3, creative expression, the result of 1 and 2. Put them together and you get 4. 4 is about stability. Here you've got 2 8s and a 3. 8 is about personal attainment. It's about growth. It's a very karmic number. And it could be that the karmic lesson right here is that it takes courage to shoot your shot with something, whether that's a business venture, a romantic love interest, a creative project. It takes courage and bravery to shoot your shot at something. And sometimes it works out for us and sometimes it doesn't. And that is those moments, those are the moments where we find that we can either allow it to become a limiting belief, allow it to continue to reinforce this belief that we were never going to be successful, it was never going to work out, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, I guess I'll go eat worms type of moment. Or we can tap into that faith, tap into that very challenging 12th house energy with that full moon, and that full moon hitting your 12th house in the second week, and recognize how those fears can manifest, and to be more conscious and diligent of how we think and speak about ourselves. Here in the second week, gentleness. Give yourself some grace. Like the three is kind of like, I don't want to say it's an apprentice because that's kind of what the pages stand for, but it does represent learning something, mastering a skill, or seeking the guidance of someone who is more experienced. You're learning through this. You're learning to grow through this. You are not going to know everything you need to know right off the bat. And you could use a little bit of gentleness as you move through this. 0 fucks given. This is card number 52. 52, or 5 and 2 is 7. You've got another 7 here. 7 represents like spiritual development, right? This is, as cliche as it sounds, this is a test. The universe is testing you. If you were trying to move on to a new phase in life with all these 10s, the universe is like, okay, well, these are the challenges that you're about to experience in this next life cycle. Are you going to consistently feel like, oh, woe is me every time something doesn't work out for you? Or are you going to take those moments, you're going to learn from it, and you're going to be stronger because of it? What are you going to do with that moment? Are you going to seek that hidden treasure that happens within these challenges? Here in the last one, becoming nobody. It can feel very isolating when you have to cut someone off. It can feel very isolating when you've worked very hard towards something and it hasn't quite panned out the way you thought it would. At least in the beginning stages. It can feel very, very isolating, and it can feel like you are nobody. However, again, with justice is like, how, like, what accountability were you? Were you overly confident in yourself? Were you overly confident? And this is just, life humbling you quite a bit. Were you too overly confident? It's almost like the divine is challenging you, putting you through these challenges, putting you through the ringer a little bit, because it is stripping you away of all of these things that you have once considered your identity, whether that was success, relationship, love, whatever the case may be. The universe is stripping you of all of that, because those labels and that identity is no longer going to potentially apply to you throughout this next cycle of your life. So I don't necessarily think you're going to be put through a ringer. I do think, however, that this month is going to present challenges that are going to have you questioning your identity, that are probably going to have you questioning your ability, questioning whether, like, do I have what it takes? I think it's going to feel a little unfair. I think it's going to feel a little isolating. But through each one of those challenges, that is the divine stepping in and giving you an opportunity to become more of the person that you are actually meant to be. So I truly hope this helped. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.